Student Life Live, and a warm welcome to you if it's your first time joining us. My name's Sally, and I actually work for Student Life Live and not Student Life in Wellington. Shout out to my Welly crew, whoop, whoop, whoop. So Student Life is a space we have actually created during this time in lockdown to connect with one another across the country, build real relationships, and learn about our real God. And so now I'm going to pass it over to Dan, who will be interviewing our awesome speaker for today, Sala Tiatia. Please remember to be thinking of questions to ask during the Q&A time, and please don't post your questions on the chat until the time comes so that Sala will be able to easily see them. So take it away, Dan and Sala. Woohoo!
So yeah, thanks a lot for that, Sally. And another great notice, just to put it out there, Sally is single. That's what she meant by wanting to be in the Bachelorettes. So just a shout out to my sis over there. Cool. So what's good? Right now we have, my bro, Sala Tiatia, who's going to be, we're just going to have a chat. Just a good kōrero about some of his life experiences in light of our topic today, just dealing with realities. There's those kind of hashtags going around, real talk or real recognizes real is real. I think that says a lot about the very fabric of us, deep down inside. We do want that genuine, real talk. We want to be understood. We want to touch on the right topics at the right time with the right people. There's a lot of right. And so I'm excited just to have that kōrero with a guy that is straight up the guts. Rugby talk right there. Pretty real. He's spoken into my life in many ways in the past. And so I'm excited to, a part of his resume right now, team, is he's been a TEDxYouth talk speaker, I guess, down in Christchurch. And so that video is going quite viral. So look that up. The topic is the power of words. But he would like for me to say this first off, and I appreciate this, is that first off, he's a servant, he's a father, he's a brother, he's a friend, he's a husband. And in the midst of that, he's got these other kind of crazy things going on as well. He's an F45 enthusiast. Any gym junkies out there? No? All right, that's cool. He's a manager. He's a teacher as well at an alternative learning facility as well. And so he's the real day Coach Carter. Try not to make the brother blush right now. But outside of that, let's just introduce him right now. So give it up for, a quiet round of applause for Sala Tiatia. Brother, how are we doing, bro?
So thank you for the introduction, Sally and Dan. So also, kia ora everyone. Maroso I fua mo malangi mama. It's really good to be here amongst scholars. I feel really out of place to be here amongst all these brainy looking people that are trying to get a degree. And all I have is 2 degrees, just saying.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add that in. The brother is a comedian, so you try to give him fire, he'll give you double fire straight back at you. No. So I'm gonna hold fort there on that one and just kind of keep it intellectual. No, probably not. So I feel overwhelmed as well about being with his intellects, but we're good. We're gonna carry on. But Sala, bro, good to have you here. Thanks a lot. Taking time out of your kind of busy schedule, even time away from family, just to be present, just to kind of school us up a little bit from your experiences. But I have to kind of keep it real as well. We just finished Mother's Day, just this past Sunday. Shout out to the mums as well. But
to the mums.
Yeah. So how's that beautiful Māori queen of yours? What did you do for Mother's Day, bro?
Well, we had good practice because I got my dates wrong. I thought the week before was Mother's Day, so me and the kids did brunch for her 2 weeks ago, and she didn't say anything. So we still cooked up a massive storm, and we took it over to her with cards and flowers. She said, "Happy Mother's Day," and she just cracked up. Said, "Thank you, but Mother's Day's next week," and which we did the same thing, part 2 again on Sunday. And so she ended up having 2 Mother's Days. That's what happens when you don't have good time management, Father, especially you that are doing university. Make sure you keep to your calendar. Get your dates right. But I like to celebrate people. Then I love celebrating people. I love cooking. I love serving people. So any opportunity to do that kind of really, it fills my cup when things like that happen. So we had a good Mother's Day.
Thank you, my bro. That's cool. She's a smart one there, wifey of yours. That's smart.
She's smart, all right? Smart ass.
All right, bro. Well, something else I just realized, coming from our kind of rugged backgrounds, I mean, Tukoroa High School, that's the school I went to. There's not much going on over there, but, you know, like, I still like my school, my old school. But this guy used to be first 15 captain for De La Salle College, which is a pretty prestigious rugby school. So shout out to those La Sallians.
Shout out to La Salle and all the South Aucklanders that are there doing university shop. Do the O-Town proud.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And but now, bro, you live in Christchurch. You've dabbled with the capital life as well. You've been in Wellington. And you just said South Auckland, so ex-Aucklander, Okilania up there. Yep. So I have to ask, Cantabrian, Hurricanes, or Blues fan, bro?
Oh, I've been asked that question many times, Daniel. But you know that old saying, hey, brother, you can take the brother out of Auckland, but you can't take the Auckland out of the brother. And so it is what it is, brother. I've got my Blues jerseys all lined up. When I was living in Puriroa, man, all my Wellingtonian whānau just hated on the fact of my pride of being a Blues fan. One of the OGs for the Blues. Right. And I moved down here to Canterbury, it is even worse. These fellas down here, they are true blue. They are die-hard red and black. And that's full. I respect.
Yeah. But be careful your words. We've got some Cantabrian intellects around here, man.
I know. I spoke to one of them in the chat, the breakout rooms.
Right.
And yeah, absolutely. And that's all good.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, no, the Auckland Blues record's not cool, but I'm just saying it's cool that you've shared your thoughts, bro. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's not about the record here. It's about the passion. Oh, Danella, how dare you?
The passion. Funny.
I respect that.
Just to warm us up to this topic of reality, bro, I thought I'd bring out the Larry King questions by kind of doing some kind of fun, quick fire ones. Like I said, there's a bit of a warm up. Let's just stretch a little bit. You being your F45, enthusiast that you are. So first off, childhood celebrity crush.
Childhood celebrity crush will have to be Julia Roberts.
All right. Role models or mentors, like just currently?
Role models.
Yeah.
You said either one or the other. Okay. Michael Jones will probably be an amazing role model of mine. Mentor will probably be the likes of Lloyd Martin, old school youth worker of Aotearoa. Another role model / mentor will probably be my own kids. They're great mentors, great role models because they kind of mirror some of the stuff that I shouldn't be doing, and so get to learn from my own mistakes from my children.
So, brother,
yep.
Guilty pleasure.
Come again?
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. Be chocolate, brother.
All right.
Heaps of it.
What's something that people get wrong about you?
Yeah, a lot of times people think I'm an extrovert. That's not true.
Okay. Secret talent.
Secret talent. I'm an underwear model.
Oh, let's go. Bro,
but nobody would know because it's a secret.
Let's keep this PG, bro. We've got some kids up in here, man.
Hey, it's a talent, Oops. It's a talent.
If you had to have a superpower, what would that be?
If I had to have a
superpower.
Will probably be to fly.
To fly. Okay, cool. Flight is always a good one. And then the last one is, what's the best dad joke that you got?
Oh, wow. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
I'm up.
Whatever, Sala. Man, we're going to change the topic now, man.
We're going to try it.
All right, bro. Well, that was just a way for us to get to know you a little bit more. But just even on a bit of a deeper note, I thought it'd be really cool just from you, bro, like just to give us a bit of a verbal screenshot of, just your transition from Auckland down to Christchurch, just give us a bit of a summation. What was that? What kind of caused that?
Wow, that's a loaded question, brother.
Yeah.
Life for me has been a definite roller coaster. I grew up with just constant abuse in my childhood. And that was just normal for a lot of us Pacific Islanders, getting just growing and trying to find your feet. And so you're trying to find your identity. I represent a generation that are kind of lost in regards to their identity. I went to Samoa for the first time in 1990. And I looked like a Samoan, I spoke like a Samoan, but the locals there looked at me and they laughed and they said, "Ohaida pā rangirari," which translated, "Who's that Pākehā over there?" And that just broke me. I was only 12 and a half, turning 13. That broke my heart, thinking I was a Samoan, but they didn't acknowledge me as one. And so if I was a tangata whenua there in Aotearoa and not tangata whenua there in Samoa, then who the heck am I? So for a long time, I felt quite lost in my identity, trying to find out who I am. And so I represent a generation that couldn't find their feet in that space also.
Yeah.
So you just grew up with a lot of anger, coupled with the abuse from, just growing up with the family domestic violence, just viewing it and experiencing it for myself. I was quite an angry young boy turning into a young man. And it wasn't until I met Jesus that things started turning around for me. But even as a Jesus lover, January 10th, 1997, I met Jesus for the first time and my whole life turned upside down. But, man is still man and they still get in the way of God's calling and God's ways, and you get mentored in a way where man's ways are much more better, are much more adhered to than God's ways. So I was never really coached on what a father is supposed to look like or a husband's supposed to operate. And so I was just trying all these things to please man. But I just made mistakes even through my early Christian years, my early marriage years, and it just kept me running away from the true issues, which no one really was able to mirror there for me to find out. And so I thought running away would be the best way for that, Daniel. And that at that time I was married to your cousin, Kitty, and we fell in love. We had two beautiful children, and as we say, the crap hit the fan. I was doing full-time ministry at that time, but I was distracted and mentored in a way where the expectations of myself and my family were just unrealistic for us, and trying to determine who God is in Aotearoa. Because as far as I was trying to discern, as well as Kitty back then, we were trying to discern, how do you be 100% Indigenous as well as 100% Christian? And there's a tension there. And it's good to see that conversation is now, exercised in a lot of churches. A lot of Christians are talking about, bicultural practices in the Christian world. A lot of that stuff is happening now. But back then, it was only one way. And there's almost, I had to change from being a Samoan Christian to being a Pākehā Christian. So there was a lot of those tensions that I had to face. And it really messed up my marriage at that time. And so I didn't know, I only knew one way, Daniel, and that was to be violent. And in that space, I couldn't do that. So I packed my family up and we ran away to Wellington. That's how we ended up in Puriroa. And we started serving God there, the church there. We was doing amazing things there. We became quite eclectic in regards to our relationship with other faiths, other churches, and we really brought the community together, and we did all these amazing concerts. And God was still the center. Jesus was still the center of that message. But some of our habits, they don't die hard when they're kept in secret and not addressed. And therefore, we ended up hurting each other, and our marriage broke up. And she ended up with the kids, and I ended up being such a went back to how Peter was when he started denying Jesus 3 times. He went back to what he knew. So 2008 was one of the hardest times for me, Daniel. I went back to what I knew. I went back to being angry and violent and quite the alcoholic, and that didn't do anything but to make life even more worse. the old saying, you know, when you try to sweep stuff under the carpet, and I share this with my students, you can sweep crap under the carpet, eventually it's going to stink. And it did. And so for a couple of years of trying to find my feet again in God, I ended up back in Christchurch. Not back in Christchurch, I ended up down in Christchurch. So I keep moving south to a city where...
so just to clarify, not to take
yes,
away from the deepness,
no, yes, please.
Just, you know, things getting kind of worse, and appreciate your transparency. That doesn't mean that going down to Christchurch makes it kind of go worse.
No. I don't know what God was planning, but I kept going further south. I'll probably end up in Goa or in Invercargill. I don't know. But, you know, things that I was involved with, I've taken it as far as I could, whether it was employment, whether it's relationships and community, and then God opens other doors, and you just know within your heart that's the right thing to do. My mind did not make sense of it. I said, this sounds stupid. Why would I go down to Christchurch? And now that I'm here, man, I love this place. Don't get me wrong, I love Puriroa, I love Otara, South Auckland, but I never thought there would be a day where South Auckland can passionately say that this place is the bomb. And I love living down here, and I love what God's doing.
Bro,
I love what God's doing down there.
You can't swear on live television. Don't say that, bro.
No. I'm just speaking truth. You know how it is, man. I'm real. What I say is just real and raw. I'm controlling myself from trying to swear because I can see kids there. But yeah, Christchurch, you know, this place is quite unique. It's very set apart from all of Aotearoa. And just the way the people are here, the Cantabrians are so resilient, man. All the stuff that they've been through, you know, I've got to see it, I've got to breathe it, I've got to really appreciate the winning spirits that the Cantabrians have here. Yep, it's predominantly Pākehā, and that's just the way it is. But they're just as much diverse. They're very inclusive, trying to find ways to collaborate and be collective as a city, as a community. And I've enjoyed being a part of that healing, a part of sitting back and watching them showcase the depth that Christchurch has to offer. And so yeah, even though I've got a few mates that are playing for Crusaders, I've already told them, nah, sorry, it's Blues for life. Cool. Sorry, Danella, sorry.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. No,
that was the transition. Oops, in a nutshell. It was just a whole series of crazy events, bad decisions on my part, God doing what God does, because all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, and I loved Him, and I had no understanding why these things would be happening, but He orchestrated things in a way that I ended up from South Auckland down here to Otautahi, Christchurch.
Cool. Well, bro, like I said, team, brace yourself. Like Sala's pretty straight up, and I appreciate that. That's real talk right there. Well, transitioning back to, we're just going to go to the reality TV side of things, bro. So we'll come back to life, like, outside of that. But, you know, one of the pictures on this promo was, this bro was on Survivor New Zealand. I can't say the next word. Nicaragua.
Wow, that's disgusting. That's a very poor effort.
Oh,
Nicaragua? Oh, you sound disgusting. It's Nicaragua. You roll your R's like when you speak Tereo. Nicaragua.
Okay. Oh, so you just, okay, don't worry. I'll work on it. But so you've got 16 castaways, contestants, 39 days for the full show. And you earned your innings, bro. You earned your stripes in there. Like, you're like number 8 that got voted off. That's pretty good in light of 16 contestants, right?
Yeah.
And sort of, correct me if I'm wrong, bro, but I'm just reading the brochure over here, bro. But it's like, that's pretty good. So, like, I have to, like, what made, you know, a brother from South Auckland want to be on Survivor with all these cameras on them, watching him go hungry and you know, and just, you know, frizz out that afro or those dreads and just see him for who he is, raw, real. What made you kind of put yourself in that position?
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Survivor, even back in South Auckland with Kitty and the kids back then. We used to watch Survivor all the time. And so I've always been a fan. And I think that's why people watch reality TV. You always try to picture yourself in there and you ask yourself the question, man, if I was in there, how would I do? How can I do that and stuff? And so the moments, I think it was early 2016, beginning of February, it was advertised on TV one night, and I saw the advertisement, and I looked at my Māori queen, and to those, just to put context, my Māori queen is my second wife, just to let you know. Sorry, not my second wife, my last wife. She's my last one. Yeah. And the first one, last one. Hopefully that's it, eh? Hey, Daniel. Anyway, so
we get it. We get it.
We get it. Okay, sweet. So I looked over to my Māori queen, and she knew I'm a big fan of Survivor, and she just said, "Do it." I was like, "Sweet." Opened up the laptop, and I jumped on TV and said, and you could see the application form. Surely it took me nearly 2 hours to fill it in. It was so robust, man. It was so in depth. But that's how I started.
Okay.
Just applied for it.
Yeah. And how real is real on the show, bro?
Yeah, it's pretty real, brother. It's pretty real. We just got to put things in context in that the Aotearoa budget compared to the American and Australian budget is very different. Okay? Very different. So New Zealand Survivor and American Survivor, they are like massive difference. I'll communicate how. So American Survivor, they have over 200 cameramen and sound people, and they have the cameras on 24/7. The New Zealand budget, only 3 cameramen and 2 sound people, and they work from 8:30 in the morning, and then they leave you at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Are those like 12 megapixel kind of cameras as well or something?
No. One of them was kind of rolling. Nah. Yeah, they did it really well, but man, you're basically by yourself after a certain time until they let you know when they're going to come back to film leading up to a challenge or tribal council. So there's a massive difference in budget. So they had to mitigate how to make it realistic with the tight budget that they have.
Okay.
But it was still a struggle. Like, don't get me wrong, we had no food. I lost 20 kilos. So, yeah.
20 kilos?
20 kilos, brother.
Wow.
When I left Aotearoa 2016, it was about July, I left at 127.5 kilos. And when I came back 2 months later, I was 107.2 kilos. So, yeah, that's a good way of losing weight.
All right. There you go, guys. Go to Survivor. Lose weight, 20 kgs.
I know.
So watching the show, like, you're on the council. I'm like, first off, like, Sala's on the, it's that scene with the fire around, and you got the contestants. You get voted off. You find out that you got blindsided by one of the contestants.
Yeah.
Like, how did you deal with it?
Man, it was tough. It was tough. You don't realize how invested you are in it until you're in it. And because this is such a crazy social experiment, you're forced to connect and build relationships right away. And so that's why they call it reality TV. You got to find a way to build a connection, build a relationship with the hope that you can go as far as you can to win the money at the end, because that's the ultimate goal. We're all there to win. But for me, I'm about people. I just got carried away with the relationship connection side of things that I forgot the game element. So I was pretty hurt, man, when people said they're going to do this and ended up not doing their part. I was pretty cut up. I was quite shocked. I was actually quite numb. So when he put out my torch and I went around the corner, I couldn't feel my hands, and all I felt was fear. I was going, oh no, because I really wanted to win. I wanted to win money for my family. That's all I had in mind. So yeah, they got me good.
Yeah, because on the show you said a couple of times, bro, like your approach towards this game was to do it with honor, with respect, with integrity. You bring up all these syllables, multiple syllable words that I can't even spell, but it's like, doing that, and I see the honor in that. Like, why wouldn't that approach work in reality TV?
Well, the one that orchestrated my demise, she simply said a particular sentence that is very true to the context of Survivor New Zealand. The issue that I had was the strength and the weakness that I had was I had no enemies. That was the issue. And so she said, rightfully so, in Survivor, that if Sala makes the final 3, we might as well just give him the money. And that's how she was able to plant the seed and awaken the game side of things to the rest of the contestants. Because we're Kiwis, man. You know, we look out for each other. We're not cutthroat as other countries are. We'd like to make sure that we look out for each other, you know, by being the best versions of ourselves. But the moment you start plugging in the game aspect of it, that's when things can get a little bit ugly.
So are you saying that a possible lesson, one of the maybe kind of in between the lines kind of lessons from that is that you could be real, you know, all you want, even just to win in many ways of life, but there's also parts of life that you won't win because if it's approached as a game, you know, if there's a kind of another prize ahead of you. Are you saying, is that what you're saying, bro?
I'm saying that, you know, this was a snippet or a small taste of the reality of humanity. When you put under pressure, you can either be one or the other, good, bad, or ugly. And because we're human and based on a lot of our own life experiences, we will reply or respond or react in that manner. And so, you know, Survivor is a pressure cooker of being in a social world where you're forced to make some real hard decisions real fast. Yeah.
Yeah. What was some of the ugly side of mankind that you saw? Like, you've been really honest about your shortcomings, bro, and I appreciate that. But what were some of the shortcomings or kind of like the sad side of humanity that you saw even on the show? Because we're entertained, bro. Like, I watch it in the comfort of my own home. You know, I can laugh at other people's mistakes while eating my Maltesers, looking like a Malteser. Like, I could do that. But you got to be in the thick of it.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think some of the ugliness is the way people edit other people's lives to be able to communicate a particular character that they want to display. That's probably some of the ugly things because I got to know all of them real well, even though a couple of them have blocked me, and that's fine.
Oh, real?
Yeah. And you get to hear their story, but you only get a snippet, you know, of who they are until later on. But I think the main ugliness of humanity was displayed after the show and during the show when people were just hating on people based on what they were watching on TV. Man, even today, I still get trolls messaging me that saying that I'm an effing fake mother effer. I'm still getting messages like that from crazy people, and then block because they just can't separate reality from normality.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's probably the ugly part is people's opinions, and they just really hate on people, and that's been really hard to watch, especially for your own family when they witness people just hating on people. They're on the live show. There were people in the crowd, and I understand because, you know, their loved one was hated on TV and stuff and all that, and so they thought in return their family will do the same and throw out some abusive words and stuff towards myself and a couple of the other contestants. And it was just really, I was quite hurt because my kids, they could hear it. My wife could hear it. My parents could hear it. And I was thankful that my brothers contained themselves. They just turned around and gave the rock look, raised the eyebrow, and then that was it. That stopped it. And so I was glad that that's all that came out of there, because it could have been worse. But it just goes to show, you know, people are people, and when they're hurt people will hurt people. That's a fact of life.
What do you think? Like, you know, that's quite insightful how you say like they edit footage, and I think we know that, but like they edit footage just to portray what they want people to see. Like, why do you think, like, even us as intellects, like you said, why do we still give into and become these trolls sometimes? Why do we kind of give into seeing reality TV? We know it's not all real, but it's like, but we want it to be real, and we get so invested in it. What's your take on why we believe it? Like, did the producer say anything about it in the briefing beforehand on the power of the show, or?
No, not really. They didn't prepare us for anything. Really, it was quite poor on their part in preparing, and also providing a psychologist to help us make sure that we are able to unpack a lot of that stuff. So it was really, really poor on TVNZ not to be able to give that kind of help for us. But I think people are invested in it because it just creates curiosity. People sometimes don't like their own lives and wish they could be within that space themselves. People are quite imaginary in their own space, in their own time, and it's like a space where they can just get away from real life and just be a character that they wish they could be. That's just some of the conversations I've had with people around that area. But yeah, all I know is that when it comes to media, when it comes to TV, when it comes to movies, there's a skill set there that really they draw on the emotions of human beings, and that's what reality TV does. Whether you like it or not, they are good at squeezing all sorts of emotional juices in order to captivate you to watch the next episode of Tiger King. Yeah. It's like, wow, why am I watching this? It's because you're curious, you're invested, some part of your emotional or intellectual being is just wanting to know what happens next.
Yeah, I've never seen so many brown people be invested in a guy with a mullet and a fur ball on the side there. They know how to pull our strings, man. I tell you, I'm in it as well.
Yeah, I just finally finished watching it. I couldn't believe. By the time I got to the end, I was just like headbutting myself, my head on the wall, saying, "Why did you do that? Why did you spend all that time watching Tiger King?"
Now, that's good to know. I ask because I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone, because I know not everyone's into reality TV, but I'm just like thinking, why is it that I like Real Housewives? Why is it that I want to see how Kanye West as well, I'm catching up with the Kardashians, like response to this topic or whatever.
Why are you into Kardashians? What Real Housewives? Why are you into them?
Oh no, I'm talking about from Wikipedia.
You're asking for a friend. Okay.
Yeah, for a friend. Yeah. Okay, so this is good insight. I know we're running out of time, but we'll just keep going if that's okay, just for a little bit longer. You come out of Survivor. Back at kind of normal life, you said you came across some trolls, but on the other side, you got some good experiences as well. Then you come back just to being a teacher, being a manager at an alternative education school. Is that right?
Yeah. And
I love that about you, bro. Like, I really appreciate that kind of side of what you're doing, bro, is that you bring hope. Like I said, you're the Coach Carter in this generation, bro, just with dreads. And so, like, what have you kind of been finding kind of insightful coming from the TV side of things to coming back to that real life stuff of dealing with kids who need to be educated, that need real talk right now?
Yeah, I don't think there was any difference from being on Survivor then working in alternative education. Then my video application to TVNZ consisted of communicating what alternative education is, which is a space for young people that are between the ages of 13 to 16 that are kicked out of mainstream schooling and are placed in this space because for behavioral reasons, or they're just bunking school, they just can't connect or engage with their education. So they come to me in order for me to feel safe, and then I can educate them and help them move towards their level 1 and level 2. So that's what alternative education is. So I communicated that in the video, and I showed all these faces, as many of the faces I could, of young people from Wellington and Christchurch, so I can communicate to TV and said that I'm good for Survivor because I learned from the best of survivors. These young people that have to go through the stigma of alternative education and the stigma of being dumb or criminals, useless. I learned from them. So when it comes to coming out of reality TV back into AE, it was no different, man. I'm still helping young people find their feet and their identity, fighting against a world that looks down on them and judge them 24/7.
Love it. Yeah, like they just got me thinking about kind of like almost comes to the end of our chat over here, the question of, because this kind of brought up some of my insecurities. The reason why I kind of laugh and talk to you about, the camera on you and the lessons that you learned is that sometimes, if I was to be honest, I don't want to learn those lessons. Yeah. I don't want people to kind of see those insecurities that I have, and to see the real Dan at times. If I was your students, bro, I'm under your kind of leadership and yours to speak from your experiences to help me in the midst of my insecurities of being real and kind of growing in the midst of that. What would you say to your bro here?
That's a good question, Daniel. I'm one that I pick and choose my words carefully when it comes to connecting with young people. My first action will probably be a hug. I would hug you, and I'll hug you real tight. And then the words that will follow is, you matter. And a lot of our young people, they live life with no worth of living, other than to be reminded that they are alive for a reason and that their life matters. And so I've worked hard to do that also, whether it's through a hug or a smile or playing cards, having a feed at McDonald's, going for a van ride. And many times there's a percentage of them they don't even talk, but they'll turn up because they feel safe. And that's probably what I will do, and that's probably what I'll say. And it's from that point of connection where they feel they can trust you. That's when you start inputting some more words of life into their life.
And now is the Q&A time, so please send in your questions into the chat below. And yeah, Sala can take it away. Awesome.
Okay, so how much of reality TV was scripted or manipulated? That's a good question, Vanessa. Yeah, a lot of it will probably be manipulated. Definitely not scripted. I reckon they all had different particular personalities and they had different scenarios, so they would interview us in a way that they could find out if their particular characters can fit their scripting. And so they'll ask these questions to manipulate us to fit their storyline. So that's what I strongly believe. They wouldn't admit it. I still good friends with a couple of one producer and a couple of other camera people and one sound person. They still tight in regards to sharing their story, Vanessa. So they keep that information tight. But I reckon that they are manipulating, and they do have a particular script they like. In fact, one producer, she rang me halfway through the season, and she goes, Sala, how do you find your character that we've, and before I even answered, she said, shut up. And I go, well, what's wrong? She goes, we couldn't do anything with your character because we had nothing. You gave us nothing other than what you gave us. So we couldn't manipulate or script anything based on what you gave us. So we just had to show you as who you are. So sweet ass, I wasn't trying to be anyone else but myself. So hopefully that answered your question, Vanessa. Is that all right? All right, let me see. Shot Harry, my man. Shane, so can good ever win in this world, or is there some degree of wisdom like a serpent that we need to survive? Wow, Shane. I'll read that question again. is, so can good ever win in this world, or is there some degree of wisdom like a serpent that we need to survive? That's a really good question. Can we close in prayer now? No? Okay, sweet. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's a good question. No, don't be sorry, Shane. You're all good. You just set me up. That's fine. I'm just gonna ask God here now. That's a really good question. I think God, in the world that we live in, it's corrupt as it is. And so no matter how good or how evil it is, you reap what you sow. You sow what you reap. And so that's the best thing that I can do. At the end of the day, the ultimate goal for those that love Jesus is to do good, regardless. And yep, I may not have won the ultimate prize at the end. I still, from if I can quote a newspaper, I still won the hearts of the people, and was blessed with what was it, the People's Champ, Dan? Won the People's Champion, got People's Champion Award, and was gifted with a flight for two for me and my wife. So we ended up going to Vietnam, which is great. So good can always come out of something, and so regardless of the consequence that other people throw upon you, hopefully that answers your question, Shane. And don't be sorry, that was a good question. You wait till I see you, I'll probably give you a slap. Okay, anyway, shot Shane. Andrew Lim, all right. Your experiences show how ruthless the film and entertainment industries can be. Yep, that's correct. Reminded me of experiences like actors like Jake Lloyd, Noah Ringer, Kelly Marie, Tran went through. Watley says, can Christians wanting to work in entertainment industry take all lessons? I think the lessons that you can take from this space is to don't lose who you are in God. And that with his wisdom and guidance, you will always find opportunities to share him, whether it's by word or by deed. And there were many opportunities. There were many times that I was able to share the gospel on that deserted island, which wasn't really deserted. There were a couple of resorts just around the corner. But anyway, there were many opportunities I took, and I shared the gospel, whether it was through word and through deed. During the actual experiment, after experience, and even now, when people ask, I make it a point to say, life sucks, but I still love Jesus, and this is why. And so, I think it's really important not to lose the element of who you are. Hopefully that answers your question, Andrew. Shane, sorry, no, it's all good. You're all good. I promise I won't slap you. I'll hug you first, and then I'll slap you. Okay, Isaac, looking back, would you have done anything differently in Survivor? How could you see yourself winning by being who you are? Oh, good question, Isaac. Another guy I'm going to hug and then slap straight after. I would not do anything differently. No, I think there'll be one thing that I'll do differently, and that's probably keep my finger on the pulse. That's how Avi won. Because Avi and I, we played a very similar game, and then we were just very social, and we made sure that we connected well with every player. But for a moment, I let go of my finger on the pulse. When I double checked with everyone, are we all good with the player? They say, yep, sweet. And then I relaxed until we got to tribal council. Right before we started walking in, I asked one of the guys, we all good, eh? And he looked at me and said, yeah. There was a pause. I should have clicked onto that, but I didn't until my name was read out, and I had to go on and put out my thing. So I'll probably keep my finger on the pulse more. And when I found out that my name was on the chopping block, I'll probably try and do something about it, which is try and have these conversations, these intense conversations. And go, wait, why? Anyway, that's probably what I'll do. Shot, that's a really good one. Thank you, Isaac. Vanessa, were there any changes when you returned to real life? Fame, people recognizing you on the streets, autographs? Good question, Vanessa. Yeah, there were. I think I was very recognizable. And so people will be yelling out my name during the season 2017, even 2018, more so in North Island, especially in South Auckland. They'll be like beeping the horns. Hey, Sala, hey. Down here in Christchurch, they're very conservative down here. So they'll be like, oh, they'll just point and then that's it, which is great. Fantastic. But up in North Island, people were just yelling up and stuff. It's like, oh. So that kind of changed one of the things that changed, it just allowed more of a platform for me to share my story, share my heart for young people, for alternative education, for a holistic lifestyle, for talking about Jesus. There was just more opportunities to just put stuff on the map for people to hear and bring to the forefront of people's minds. So yeah, thank you, Vanessa. That's a good thing. Yeah, I ended up signing quite a lot of autographs and heaps of selfies. I got real tired of that real quick because people don't know I'm actually an extroverted introvert, which means I love people deeply, but I can't stand people quickly. Yeah, kia ora. I'm from Cantab too. Yes, shot Shane. Oh, that was a private message. Sorry, okay. Nancy Ngafa, do you believe that it was because of your identity in Christ that made it harder for others to manipulate your identity? Do you believe that it was because of your identity that made it harder for others? Yeah. I actually don't know. That's actually a really good question, but I don't know. Possibly. But yeah. That's a good question, but I don't know how to answer that question. Yeah. Am I done? Is that enough? Are you jumping in now, Sally, or no? I'll just carry on. Carry on.
We still got a bit of time, brother. Go.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. So, do you believe that it was because of your identity in Christ that made it harder for others to manipulate your identity? Yeah. I'm trying not to be biased, but I think so. I reckon it is. They couldn't even take away the fact that I started when we won, when we got to the final 10. It was just right to do a karakia before we ate the food, and they tried everything to try and eliminate that part, but it was just too ingrained in our culture as people of Aotearoa that they had to include it. So I reckon that is. So thank you, Nancy. Good question. How does your relationship with God influence your style of youth work? Oh, very good question, Toby. Simple word, love. My relationship with God influences my youth work through the word agape, just love. And a lot of our rangatahi, they misconstrue the word love for all sorts of interpretations. From, I believe you guys were talking about pornography the last time, and say, a lot of our young people have no idea what real love looks like. And so I try to display that with my relationship with God, and I'm working with either my words or my deeds. So that their relationship is very important. And my relationship with God is quite raw, to be quite frank with you guys. It's raw, it's real. I have quite a lot of FU prayers with him, so I have a lot of arguments with God, but I end up on my knees crying. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Vanessa, did you avoid Jesus or things representing Christianity on Survivor? I promise that was my last question. Thanks. No, you don't have to worry about that. Vanessa, you're all good. Did I avoid Jesus? No, I did not avoid Jesus or representing Christianity on Survivor. I think I strategically was able to just be myself and make sure that my actions spoke louder than my words. I knew that in a space like that, if I wanted to last long in order to share my faith, I needed to be able to make sure that I didn't give anyone reason to say, oh, we better cut this guy and he's just going to be another God person that's going to try and drown the New Zealand airwaves with his gospel. And so I had that in mind to make sure that in private conversations, I would be able to share my faith with words. In front of the camera, I wanted to show my faith with my actions, if that makes sense. Cool. Nancy, you're very welcome, my dear. Toby, there are people here at a lot of different stages of spirituality. Is there anything you'd want to say to people considering following Jesus? That's a really good question, Toby. My advice or my encouragement to you, if you are at whatever level you are with Jesus, there are two things. Number one, for me personally, he is 100% real. He is 100% real. Number two, whatever stage you are in this journey with Jesus, make sure you use your emotional intelligence to seek him. Ask all the questions. That's why you're in university in the first place. You got all these crazy intellectual questions. Well, do that. Do that with Jesus. And I promise you, he'll give you an answer. He will show himself real to you. That's the best that I can do with that question, Toby. How do you get along with your children, including the ones from your first marriage? Do they have a relationship with you? Very good question, Andrew. I have a very close relationship with all 6 of my kids. We are very intentional on staying connected. My relationship with my ex-wife, thanks to the grace of God himself, and through my Māori queen being a facilitator of peace, we have a very good working relationship. We have a very good relationship as parents to our 4 kids. And so, yeah, we are one crazy, mixed, functional, loving family. And so, yeah, we were due to go over in April to celebrate my birthday there in Wellington with all 6 of my kids, my wife, my ex-wife, and just celebrate my birthday as well as my oldest boy's birthday. But then COVID-19 hit in and we never got that opportunity. So we're looking forward to being able to do that soon. Now that it's level 2, I just need to try and get into talking to Air New Zealand, who just isn't answering my phone calls. Yeah. And I think those are all the questions that are on the chat line, Moles.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in to this week's Student Life Live. We really hope that you guys had a great time connecting with people across the country and learning from our really awesome guest speaker. If you feel that you'd really like to talk to somebody a little bit more about today's topic, maybe individually or one-on-one, please head to our Facebook page, Student Life NZ. And if you private message us there, we'll be able to connect you with someone in your region who can help you process through today's topic. We also have an Instagram account called Student Life NZ. So if you head over there and give us a like and follow there, you'll be able to see some really awesome gospel media, and you'll also be able to contact us directly there as well. If you've heard about this personal relationship with God that you can have today, and maybe you're hearing about it for the first time or you're not really sure what this means, please head over to our website, studentlife.org.nz/gospel. And there you'll be able to read about how to have a personal relationship with an awesome God. After you've had a read through this, please do connect with us on Instagram or Facebook, and we are super happy to chat with you, maybe answer any questions that you might have, or point you to some more resources where you can learn more about this awesome God. So once again, thanks so much for coming this week, and we hope to see you guys back here next week for our new topic. See you guys then. Bye!